It's football season, and there are games this weekend. It's time for Weekly Wagers, where the money is pretend and the picks are highly questionable.
Hey everybody, it is Joey Kieran and Josh Nelson here from Off the Wall, hanging out with you again as we are wishing you a very happy New Year, everybody. Hopefully things have been going well. Your New Year's Eve parties were a blast, and you now are recovering maybe a little bit with some sports coming up this weekend. It is a Friday holiday, so once again, no Off the Wall today, but that does not mean that we are taking a break from making our weekly picks like we normally do. It is time for some weekly wagers, and thanks so much for taking the time to check out which teams we are backing as we start making picks for this week's NFL games. Now, just a quick update for you here on how weekly wagers have been going. We are now into week 18 making picks. We've done this for 18 weeks now, and we started out college, then it got college and NFL. Now with the bowl game season underway, we are picking all the bowl games in the Off the Wall Bowl Pick'em Challenge that you guys are taking part in with us. But that means we're focusing our weekly wagers now just on the NFL, and we'll be getting into the NFL playoffs here in a little bit as well. As things stand here on this New Year's Day, we are looking at Josh leading the way, 45-40-1, and I am at 40-46-1 on the season. Tough week for me last week, went 1-4. Josh did have a losing week, but he was a little better at 2-3 last week. So we are both looking to try and get back on the winning side of things here today as we get ready to start making picks. Final week of the regular season, buddy. How are you feeling about this? It is a wild week 17. A lot of teams resting starters, a lot of teams dealing with COVID-19 issues, with players having to sit out this week, unsure exactly what this is going to look like. I don't know about you, but I had a hard time finding games I was all that confident in.
Yeah, me too. I did not like any of the numbers for pretty much any of the games that I saw, so I'm kind of going off a whim here just because, like you said, a lot of teams sitting players because their playoff seats are locked in place or they're in the playoffs. And then the COVID issues, as you said, even news coming out yesterday on some more and even probably some more today. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in this crazy finish to the regular season of the NFL.
Yeah, it really is. And but you do have teams out there still fighting for playoff spots. There's a lot of positioning on the line still in the NFL, even as we get to the final week of the season. So going to be a lot to play for. It's going to be a real interesting week, and looking forward to seeing how things work out for our teams. All right, so since you did have the winning week last week, let's get into it. Time to make some picks. Where are you starting off with your first pick coming up in this week's weekly wagers?
So my first pick is going to be the Steelers at the Browns. The Browns are a 9-point favorite in this ball game. Again, we're talking about players not playing this weekend. It seems for some reason like the Steelers are going to be sitting some players because they're either going to be the 2 seed or the 3 seed. I would figure they want to be the 2 seed, and they try to start people, but I guess they want to rest people up. So Big Ben's not going to be playing. I don't know if Claypool is going to be playing or Juju Smith-Schuster is going to be playing in this one. The Browns, they've got to win to get into the playoffs, or they could lose and get some help some other ways. There's a bunch of other ways they could do it, but they pretty much just need a win, take care of business in this one, which I think the Browns can do it. I think it's going to be a closer game than what they're showing here. I don't think the Browns are going to win by 9 points. I've got them as a 9-point favorite in this one. So I'm going to take the Steelers +9, but I think the Browns can win this game. It's going to be kind of like a rematch of the Rudolph versus the Browns of last year.
All right. That was one. There's a lot of unknowns about that game, and I tried to stay as far away from games where there were too many unknowns. So that was one I did not want to touch there. My first game, I'm going to be going with some AFC South matchups.
Hold on.
Yes.
I took the Steelers though +9 on that.
I know, but the Steelers are going to be sitting folks. The Browns have a lot of issues. They're getting some guys back, maybe some guys going on the COVID. There's just a lot of unknowns going into that matchup, and I mean the Steelers, even if they were at full strength, they're a huge unknown. They've been so hot and cold the last couple of weeks, so that's one I felt a little risky, so I didn't want to touch that one. AFC South matchup for me. The Indianapolis Colts are in need of a win in the most desperate way for this matchup. They lost last week, got lucky that Tennessee lost as well. And so both teams are still fighting for that AFC South title. The Colts get a benefit of the schedule makers here. They face the Jacksonville Jaguars in the final week of the regular season. That helps them out, but they do need some help from other games going on, and I'm not sure they're going to get what they need there. But they can at least do the part that they can control. The Colts are a big favorite in this one. They need the win to stay in the playoff picture. They're facing a Jacksonville team that just secured the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. It has been a tough year. They're going to be without their leading rusher in James Robinson. I think the Colts have a perfect opportunity to go out here, win big, and cover the spread. It was at 14 when I wrote this down earlier. It looks like it is still at that at the time that we are recording this. So I'm going to go with the Colts minus 14 in my first pick.
All right, so I picked that same game as well, but I did not pick the Colts. I picked the Jaguars plus 14 in this game. One of the big reasons is the Colts are going to be missing their left tackle, Anthony Castrozano, or I don't know how you say that name, but anyways, they're going to be missing him for the rest of the season. It's a huge number. I do not like a huge number on the last week of the NFL regular season. Colts have nothing to play for. This is their last game, like I said. So
the Colts have plenty to play for. They can still make the playoffs.
Not the Colts, the Jaguars. Sorry.
Okay.
But the Jaguars have nothing to play with. This is their last regular season game. This is pretty much like their playoff game. Their season's over after this. They'll go into off season and get ready for 2021. So I'm going to take the Jaguars plus 14.
Wow. All right. Well, there you go. So I'm going to go to the NFC side of things here. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are still fighting for playoff seeding after clinching a playoff berth last week. They are trying to get that 5 seed in the NFC. They obviously have plenty to play for there. On the other side, it's the Falcons. They do not. This will be their final game of the season. Now, they are a very good team. They've been playing close with a lot of teams here coming up in the last couple of weeks, including a matchup 2 weeks ago against Tom Brady and this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. But you might remember in that matchup, the Atlanta Falcons led 17-0 at halftime. Tom Brady led the Buccaneers to a huge second half. They win in that matchup. Tom Brady just seems to have something against this Atlanta Falcons team. You might remember the Super Bowl a few years ago, 28-3. Probably rings a bell to a lot of Atlanta fans out there. I don't know what it is that Tom Brady has over this Falcons team, but I think it continues to play itself out here. The Buccaneers needing a win. It is a 6.5-point spread last I looked. Let me double check and make sure the number hasn't moved. 7. Dang it. I was really hoping it wouldn't move there. Buccaneers -7. I'm still going to stick with it because I wouldn't know what else to do. So I'll stick with my number there. Buccaneers -7 against the Falcons. I think Julio Jones is a little questionable to play in this game, if I remember correctly. And, if the Buccaneers do kind of what they've done to the Falcons in the past, if the Falcons continue to have issues closing out games, your final game of the year, you start to see a lot of things go the same way. You may be a little banged up. I think they may start packing it in early if things are going the wrong direction there, which I think with that Buccaneers offense being explosive and needing to still win in the final week of the season, I think it can. I'm going to take the Bucs -7.
All right, so I actually picked the same game as well, but I'm taking the Falcons +7 in this ball game here. The Buccaneers need to win this game. Otherwise, they're going to be the 6th seed, which means they're either going to have to play the number 1 seed, Green Bay, Saints, or Seattle. Whoever locks that up in the NFC East or the NFC. So they need to win this game. But like you said, the Falcons, they are a good team that just can't close out ball games. You watch what they did to the Chiefs. They took away 3 playmakers pretty much in that ball game. And it came down to their kicker, who is a Pro Bowl kicker, who has not missed a kick up until that point last week. This is going to set in their head really well about losing 17 points against the Buccaneers, or giving up 17 points to the Buccaneers after leading them by 17. So I really feel like the Falcons are going to come out. They're going to have an answer for the Buccaneers. I feel like the Falcons can either come close to winning this game or they just lose it by a point or 2.
Man, the NFL Week 17 is loaded with a lot of big-time matchups with teams trying to get in the playoffs. Apparently, Weekly Wagers are going to follow suit with a lot of big-time matchups going up against each other here as I try to catch up some ground. Okay, I am going with the Cincinnati Bengals hosting the Baltimore Ravens for my next pick. The Ravens peaking as the season is ending. Their offense has really started heating up. Lamar Jackson running the ball. They're almost a three-headed monster out of the backfield for the Ravens running the ball there. They're going up against a Bengals team, which has actually looked fairly decent in the last couple of weeks here. They really got one over on me last week as they beat up on the Houston Texans. But they've won the last 2 weeks against teams that were in kind of a bad spot. The Pittsburgh Steelers really were struggling when the Bengals got that win with Ryan Finley. Last week it was Allen at quarterback back there again. And they beat up on a Texans team whose defense has just kind of gotten to a bit of an atrocious spot right now for the Houston Texans defense. I'm going to take the Ravens here. I think they can ground and pound and run away with a victory here. It's a 13-point line. I'm taking the Ravens minus 13 in that one.
All right. So my next one's going to be Chargers at Chiefs. The Chiefs are a 3.5-point underdog in this game, but they're the underdog because, hey, guess what? The Chiefs are resting their starters. They have locked up that number 1 seed, so that means no Patrick Mahomes, no Travis Kelce, no Tyreek Hill, no Tyrann Matthews. And then on the other side of the ball, you got the Chargers. The Chargers, their last game of the season before they head into the offseason to see what they can fix, what they can get, and get ready for 2021. But you got Justin Herbert. He looks good all the way around. He is a very impressive pickup by the Chargers. Has pretty much proved everybody wrong in the first year that he's taken the reins, and he's only done it in about 15 games. He has a good chance at beating the rookie passing yard record this week. I think he can do it against a second-string put-together Kansas City Chiefs team. So I'm going to take the Chargers minus 3.5.
It's crazy to see the Chargers favored against the Chiefs, but I totally get the reason why. But, man, it's just weird to see that number up there on your screens. Did you have that at 3.5?
I had that at 3.5.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. That's the number I was seeing there. All right, my fourth pick in this week's Weekly Wagers. Big-time game here in the NFC. Cardinals and the Rams. The winner is moving on to the playoffs. The loser could be out. If it's the Cardinals, they are done. If it's the Rams, they would need some help to get into the postseason. Probably my least favorite pick out of my picks, the one I'm least confident about. But with a lot on the line, I think it's going to be two teams really going at it. Could be a decent amount of points in this game with a couple of with an offense on one side in the Cardinals that is very explosive. An offense on the other side with the Rams that is going to just be trying to keep up, and they're going to have a backup quarterback, this kid out of the AAF, that secondary spring league that got underway a couple of years ago and then only made it one season, the Wolford kid there. He's got an arm. He can throw it around. We'll see how well he mixes in with that offense on a short lead-up time to this game. Now, the Rams' defense, obviously very tough. Still the top defense in the NFL for Kyler Murray, but he's just so explosive. He's got plenty of weapons out there. Will the defense be able to hold him in check while maybe the Rams' offense struggles? No Jared Goff, no Cooper Kupp out there. If the offense doesn't do much for the Rams, will the Rams' defense be able to stay fresh long enough in this game if they're put out there on the field for extra minutes because the offense can't hang on to the ball? So, I'm going to go in a must-win situation here for the Arizona Cardinals. It's a tight line at only 3 points. I'm going to take the Cardinals laying the 3 points on the road against the Rams, playing a backup quarterback out there. We'll see how that goes, but I'm taking Arizona.
All right, and so for my last pick, I've got the Dolphins at the Bills. The Bills are a 3-point favorite in this ball game. Bills are fighting to lock up the number 2 seed in the AFC. And they very well could do it if they win this game. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs seem to be gelling really well together. Dolphins need to win this game to get in the playoffs. They have a weird quarterback situation where they're doing like a reliever pitcher type situation, it seems like. And then as of yesterday, Fitzpatrick was diagnosed with COVID, so he's not going to be playing this week. So they're not going to be able to use him to come in the second half if Tua is struggling. I think that's going to be big. It's also supposed to be snowing up there at kickoff for the Bills. So in this game, I think the Bills have it. They have a good defense, but I think the Bills can win this game and cover. And then hopefully something happens where the Dolphins can maybe get into the playoffs some other way, if there's any other way. But I'm going to take the Bills -3.
All righty. My final pick here in our weekly wagers is going to be the Tennessee Titans on the road against the Houston Texans. I'm going to pick my Titans. I did not want to, but just looking at the matchups, this is the one I feel good about here. Tennessee needs to win that AFC South title. They can get in if they don't win, but it would be much easier if they do, plus better seeding if they get a win. Houston, nothing left to play for them. It has been a weird season for the Texans, dealing with a lot of injuries and other issues throughout their season. They're missing Will Fuller after he got suspended. They got lit up last week by Cincinnati. I think the Titans, they're just going to ground and pound this one and just work their way to a victory here to finish out the season and try and build some momentum for the postseason. A lot of people think about them as that being a team that has a possibility of getting into the postseason. I do worry about their defense. Houston still has plenty of offensive weapons out there, but I think the Titans are just going to ground and pound and really wear down this Texans team, who is maybe going to just limp into the offseason. So -7.5, I'm taking the Tennessee Titans to finish out my weekly wagers. All right, there we go. Weekly wagers here in Week 17 of the NFL. Whew, it's going to be an interesting one. We got some battles going on between the two of us this week.
We do. It's going to be fun seeing what happens. What a way to finish off the regular season, to actually be going up. We got at least 2 games against each other going the opposite direction. It could give you a little bit of ground or give me a little bit further ground. So we'll see what happens, but I'm excited to see. Unfortunate to be the last regular season NFL season. Seems like just yesterday that it started. So, but I'm ready for the playoffs. I'm ready to see what happens in the playoffs and who ends up coming down to that Super Bowl this year.
We will continue making weekly wagers throughout the playoffs as well. So not our final week doing this, but final week of the regular season. We'll keep making picks coming up next week as the playoff rounds get underway. But we'll keep you updated. You can check out the standings at 541radio.com as well. And don't forget, this is all leading to a payoff for Pie Day, Off the Wall Pie Day. The loser of this year's weekly wagers is taking pies in the face coming up. It won't technically be on Pie Day, which is March 14th. It'll be March 15th, the day after, because, well, that was a Sunday, and we're on the air on a Monday, and we want to do it while we're on the air. So we'll do Off the Wall Pie Day on March 15th, the loser paying off this bet coming up then. All right.
Hey, so who you picking real quick for the Fiesta Bowl today?
Fiesta Bowl tomorrow. Coming up tomorrow, yeah. Saturday afternoon kickoff there. Oregon and Iowa State in that matchup. I'm going to take the Ducks in that one. I like their chances. I really do. I think with the time they've had to try and get things right, we've seen the defense seems to be peaking. I think their offense will have time to get some things going the right direction. We've seen it at times do well. Maybe a little bit of pressure there on a nice performance from Anthony Brown as the backup quarterback to Tyler Shuck. Maybe that kicks Shuck in the butt and gets him moving back the way we saw at the start of the year. Look, the kid put up great numbers this season. He just had stretches where he did absolutely nothing for the Ducks in those final couple of weeks of the season, and ended up costing the Ducks that the offense really couldn't do things there in a couple of games straight where they were in them. I mean, they still put up points, and they didn't lose in games that it was like they were blown out, but they needed to have some more consistency on the offensive side of the ball. And so I think we might get a chance to see that. So I'm going to roll with the Ducks on that one. I just feel like I think the time leading up to the game is going to give them a chance to get things right.
I really want to go that way with that and lean with the Ducks. The concern I have is their turnover battle. Can the offense hold on to the ball? I don't trust that the offense can hold on to the ball. I think Oregon's defense can keep them in a ball game and keep it a close game. But I think the turnovers is what's going to end up costing the Oregon Ducks in this game. I think the Cyclones have too good of a defense, and they'll take advantage of any turnover that might happen. And so far, we've seen a turnover in every game this year by the Oregon offense.
Yeah, that is true. They've cleaned things up definitely down the stretch, but they have been turnover prone throughout this season for Oregon. It's going to be exciting. That one's a 1 o'clock kickoff on Saturday from the Fiesta Bowl in Glendale, Arizona. That is a game, of course, you can hear on the radio, on News Radio 1240 KQEN, starting at 1 o'clock with pregame at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning. So if you're looking for some extended pregame coverage before the game kicks off on TV, you can tune in and catch some pregame there on the radio. I would encourage you to do so. They always put together a good pregame show there to get you ready for that game. Other than that, we got a lot of sports action coming up. We're going to be wrapping it up all on Monday's edition of Off the Wall. We'll be recapping the Fiesta Bowl. We'll be taking a look at the NFL playoffs. We'll be getting ready for 2021 and what it has in store for us. So looking forward to that. Buddy, Happy New Year. Enjoy all the games this weekend. Good luck with your picks, and we'll talk to you again here soon.
Yep, Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year to yourself. I'm headed back to Oklahoma on Sunday.
All right. Safe travels, and we'll get a chance to catch up again here soon. That's our weekly wagers, everybody. Have a great rest of your Friday, and we look forward to catching up with you again on Off the Wall Monday, starting at 11 o'clock on The Score, 92.3 FM and 1490 AM.